Hi, I'm Danielle, and today I want to talk about something that most of us are taught to chase, but rarely taught to build. That's purpose at work. From the very beginning of my career, I was searching for purpose. While many of my Gen X peers were climbing the corporate ladder and chasing high paying jobs, I wanted something else. I wanted to save the world. Idealistic? Definitely. But I was determined to do work that meant something, that mattered. Even in my early years working entry-level jobs, I stayed committed to that idea. Eventually went to law school, not because I was chasing prestige or power, but because I believed it would help me fight for clean air, clean water, and a healthy environment for all. For decades, my career strategy seemed straightforward, align with organizations whose missions matched my values. But over time, I learned something that changed everything. Purpose doesn't come from your organization or even the mission behind the organization you work for. It comes from you. Let's sit with that for a second. Even if you work in a mission-driven organization, your sense of purpose is not something your job hands you. It's something you create based on what you believe is meaningful. You activate purpose when you bring your unique strengths and energy to work. It's in how you show up, how you connect with people, how you approach problems, how you deliver impact in a way only you can. And yes, that means even in a meh job, you can feel a deep sense of purpose, not because mission is inspiring, but because you are. One of the biggest myths about meaningful work is this idea that we care most about where we work. But most of us, we actually care more about who we work with. We care about whether our team has our back, whether our manager sees us, whether our work is noticed, valued, and connected to something that feels real. Let me share one of my favorite examples. In 2001, researchers studied a group of hospital housekeepers, people in roles often seen as routine, physical, even invisible. But some of those housekeepers weren't just cleaning rooms. They were crafting purpose in how they worked. Researchers found that these workers were reshaping their roles in 3 ways. Task crafting. One housekeeper started to rearrange patient photos and personal items, bringing comfort, not just cleanliness. Another paid special attention to rooms with vulnerable patients, not because it was required, but because it mattered. The second thing they did was relationship crafting. Some housekeepers made time to connect with patients or families. They saw themselves as emotional support, not just staff. And finally, perception crafting. And perhaps the most powerful. They reimagined how they viewed their jobs. One said, "I'm an ambassador for the hospital." Another said, "I help patients heal." Their job titles hadn't changed. Their tasks hadn't been rewritten, but their sense of purpose had. And as a result, they felt more fulfilled, more engaged, and more connected to their work without changing a single line in their job description. So no, you don't need to love everything you do. In fact, researchers say if you love just 20% of your job, that can be enough to feel meaningfully engaged. Workplace expert Marcus Buckingham calls those moments red threads, the parts of your job that light you up. He suggests asking, what lights me up at work during my workday? When do I lose track of time? When do I feel strong? For all of these reasons, you feel more energy. Even a small jolt will offer big clues about what brings your work to life. So here's the good news. If you're in a white collar or knowledge-based role, chances are you have more flexibility than you think to shape your work. You might not control your job description, but you do control how you shape or approach your tasks, how you build and engage in relationships, and how you interpret the meaning of what you do. So if you're feeling disconnected, the solution might not be to reconnect with your organization's mission, which can feel like miles away from your day-to-day. The real shift comes from reconnecting with how you show up, moment to moment, day to day. So where does purpose actually live? It lives in the way you support a colleague who needs your help, unpack a pile of data and tell a story with it, how you lead a meeting that helps your team align, how you solve a problem that makes someone else's day easier. And above all, it lives in those red threads. So make sure they show up in your week, even just 20% of the time. Before I go, here are a quick few questions to reflect on. When was the last time you lost track of time doing something? Or when you felt completely in control? Or you surprised yourself with how well you did at something? Or someone had to pull you away from something you were working on? Or maybe finally you didn't want the activity to end? Your answer to these questions, that's where your purpose lives. And often it's closer than you think. If you found this helpful, hit like, subscribe, share it with someone who might need a little reminder that their work can feel meaningful again. Thanks for watching, and remember, you don't find purpose at work, you create it.